Hi, good day to all of you here today. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all of you that has tuned in from all around the world. My name is Hui Ming. I am a financial integrator from SK iWealth, and I am also your pretty advisor because I make sure that you are going to design the most beautiful planning that you have desire all the time, that you really want to achieve it. So it's a great pleasure to have me here to share with you more on the finance topic. And today I'm going to share with you something that has been missing out in our financial planning all the time. And so let's explore what exactly is the missing link. Allow me to share my screen so that you can have a better visual while I am sharing over here. Okay, cool. I hope my screen is up, that all of you can actually see it. So my topic today is about financial integration and finding the missing piece in financial planning. Yes, you are right. The reason why we need to do financial planning is because we want to have a better lifestyle and to make sure that everything is in place. So today, since we have already put in so much effort and time and money, we cannot afford to have this missing linkage that is going to destroy all the hard work that we have already put in previously. So before I get into that, I would like to talk a little bit about the importance of financial planning. I believe that a lot of you might already have your own planning, but there are still a lot of people out there that do not have a financial planning. And I think right now is actually a time where we need to spread this awareness out to more people and to tell them that the importance of having a proper financial planning, because this is going to do good to them. They're going to have better directions in their life, and they're going to be able to achieve these three important things that I'm going to share with you right now. So the first thing why we need to have a proper financial planning is because with a proper financial planning, we're going to have the ability to achieve the financial goals that we want in our life. Admit it, everything in our life is going to cost us money. Whether you like it or not, everything requires money. If you're going to tell me that I don't actually require a very luxurious life, I just want a very simple lifestyle, I'm so sorry. I'm just going to tell you very frankly that it is still going to cost you money. All right. And by having a simple lifestyle, it is actually the goals that you wish to achieve in your life. And so this is why having a proper financial planning is so important, because it is going to make sure that you are going to be able to achieve these financial goals, and it is going to last you for a period of time. All right. So what are the goals that most of the people would like to achieve is probably buying a house, buying a car, and having enough funding for their children's education, and have enough money to enjoy their life, to go traveling around and to do things that they really, really want to do. Okay, so this is the first very important reason that why we need to have a proper financial planning. And the second thing that we need to have a proper financial planning is because by having a proper financial planning, you would actually feel more financially secure. This is the reason because you will definitely going to have enough for the emergency cases. Let's take this COVID pandemic for example. We all know that during this pandemic, a lot of businesses, individuals, employees, they are actually being drastically affected by this pandemic. During this time, if you do not have a proper financial planning, you might not have enough funding for you to support you through this hard time. You might not have enough money for you to support your living, not having enough money to pay for your rent, not having enough money to pay for your food, for your living, and all those necessities that you need in life. So by not having this part of planning done well, is going to make you very, I would say, in a mess. All right, you're going to be in a mess, and you're going to be so panicked that you do not know what to do next. So by having a proper financial planning, it gives you the security that even it is at this kind of pandemic, you are having a really serious emergencies, rest assured, because everything has been well taken care. And you know that how much money can actually last you. Okay, so some of the emergencies that are probably a more minor emergencies could be like if suddenly your car broke down, or there's some maintenance that you need to pay for, your housing maintenance, or probably you get retrenched because of this pandemic. You are going to be you can still relax because you know that you're going to have enough funds to make you through this period of time. And the most serious emergencies that we have to take care of in order for you to feel financially secure is the medical emergency funds. As we all know that the inflation rate for medical expenses is close to around 30% every year. By not having this amount of money prepared, it is definitely going to bring you in a very serious condition. All right. So if you have a proper financial planning, rest assured, because all these emergencies has already been taken care of, and you don't have to worry about it because you know exactly how long you can actually get through it with all the fundings that you have actually prepared beforehand. All right. And of course, to feel financially secure, for some of the people, they might actually overspend in certain months. So if you already have your financial planning done well, it's okay to overspend because you know you already have that amount of money in your bank account that can actually allow you to spend additionally from time to time. All right, so this is the second reason why we need to have a proper financial planning, because it's going to make you feel so safe and so secure even when there's a mess out there. All right. And the third reason why we need to have financial planning, a proper financial planning, is because at the end of the day, life is all about options. Life is all about choices. We would like to make choices in our life, and we wouldn't want someone to force us to do something that we don't like. And by having a proper financial planning, you are going to have that option to make choices in your life. All right. You can have the choices to buy a house or two houses. You can have the choice to quit your job and enjoy life for the rest of your life. And you can have the choice to travel when everyone else have to work so hard. So this is the reason why financial planning is so important, because with a proper financial planning, you're going to have the ability to choose. All right. Who doesn't want to make choices in life, right? So at this point of time, usually what the objections that I'm going to get is that people would tell me that I didn't really want to retire earlier. I hope that I can continue to work, because if I were to stay at home for a very long period of time, I might get Alzheimer's, things like that. All right. And I might not continue to think, which would actually make my life become so boring. Okay. I understand your concern, but the point that I'm actually emphasizing over here is that when at the point of time when you feel like you just had enough of contributing, you just don't want to do anything, you just feel like you're so tired that you really want to have a more relaxing lifestyle, by having a proper financial planning, you can do so. All right. As I said, there is an option for you to not continue working. But if you want to continue working, it's entirely up to you. It's totally fine. But if you do not want to work anymore, you have that options to not continue working. So this is the power of financial planning. All right. So these are the three main reasons why financial planning is so important in life. And if you would want me to conclude it in one sentence, I would say that by having a financial planning, at the end of the day, we just want to have a peace of mind, right? We want everything to go based on what we think it's going to be. We do not want to have some other things that is coming in and disrupt our life and make our life go so messy. So we just want a peace of mind. But by having financial planning is actually not enough because there is still a missing piece in it. And this missing piece, if not handled well, it would actually disrupt the peacefulness of your life. And this is the important thing and also the main topic that we are going to discuss and explore and see what can we do and what is this missing piece that we really have to take care of. So before I even get to there, I would want every one of you here to understand that throughout the planning, there are actually 3 phases, or you would say there are actually 3 categories of people in this world when we are talking about having a financial planning. All right. So over here, I would say the first phase is actually the financial product people. And the second one is the financial planning people. And the third one is the missing piece, which I will be revealed to you at the end of the session. Okay, so let's go through one by one. What does all these 3 phases means? Okay, so let's go to the phase 1. Phase 1 is the financial product people. Okay, so I believe a lot of you have actually encountered people like this before, especially advisors. When you're talking to your customers, you might actually have met a lot of people like this. And it is actually fine because I would say more than 80% of the community are actually still in the phase 1 of the financial planning. So what do I mean by the financial product people is that they are general people that set general goals for their life. Okay, when we talk about financial planning, it's always about setting a goal for their life because that is the thing that they want to achieve. They hope that they can acquire. They want to have better lifestyle. These are the things that is coming into the picture. So for general people, when they set goals, they also set a very generic goals. So these are the examples that you can see over here, which is like also the most common statement that I have always heard from all my friends and people around me is that I want to be rich. Okay, I want to buy a house and I want to retire early. Okay, so these are some of the general goals that I have heard from others. So you might be thinking that this, okay, it's true that it is very general because everyone wants to be rich. Everyone wants to buy a house. So what is the problem by setting a general goal? I don't see a problem over there. All right. So I would actually tell you what is the problem on my next few slides. Okay. So basically for people that is actually in this phase 1, the financial product people, is that after they have tell you these very general goals, they would actually start looking for the financial products. And usually these are some of the products, the financial products that we can see in the market, which is like savings account, fixed deposits, insurance, mutual funds, stocks, currencies, property, business, etc., etc. All right. So once they actually set a very generic goals, they say, I want to be rich. They will start to put in the money into the savings account. I mean, some of the tools that I've mentioned over here. Okay. But what exactly is the problem here? So the problem here is that by setting this very generic goals, there's actually no specific definition of this goal. You were telling me that, okay, you want to be rich, but how do you define rich? How much money is considered rich to you? Is 500,000 considered rich to you? Or is $1 million? Or is $5 million? Or is $50 million? You see, that is actually a very huge difference between the figure. So if you do not define your goals, you do not give a specific definitions to your goal, how do you know what is the direction that you are heading? How would you know when to stop? And how would you know what are the things, what are the effort, what are the time, what are the money, what are the amount that you have to contribute in it? Okay, There is no specific goal amount in the statement that I want to be rich. So how much is considered rich to you? And there is no specific duration that you want to achieve this specific goal. I want to be rich, but when are you going to be rich? Do you hope to be rich in maybe a duration of 10 years time? Or do you hope to be rich in 5 years time? If you do not set the goal, how do you know when do you want to be rich? So this is the problem over here that a lot of financial product people actually overlook, because what they thought is that I don't really have to take care of so many things right now. Probably my income is still very low, and I have a lot of commitments. I don't really have time to take care of my finances. And what I can do is that I just save whatever I have. All right, and we'll see what's going to happen when things happen. So this is actually a very general mindset that a lot of people is still having, but it is very dangerous to have this kind of mindset, because when you're not specific enough, it's really going to make you be in a very dangerous state. All right. And with that, you're not going to have a proper action plan, because you wouldn't know how much money you are going to be invested in order for you to achieve that goal. So let's take an analogy of if you are going for hiking today, you need to know what is the direction to get up to the top of the hill. You need to know what is the condition of the hill, what kind of shoe you should be wearing. Is it going to be very cold at the top of the hill? Do you need to bring extra jacket? Do you need to bring extra food because it's a very long journey? You need to have all this specification, all these details before you even climb that hill. Because if you don't, you might actually get lost in the hill, and you're going to be hungry if the journey is very, very long. And at times you're going to lose motivation because you wouldn't know how much more time that you're going to spend hiking to the top of the hill. All right, so this is a very basic problem that most of the people would actually face when you are in the phase one, the financial product people. Okay, so this and the consequences of being in the phase one is that you may actually over or underspend in the wrong tools. All right, let me repeat the statement. You may actually overspend, or you may actually underspend in the wrong tools, because there is no goal in mind. Okay, what do I mean by overspend? Okay, for example, let's say if you were to save up 100,000 in maybe 10 years time, so it means that you will have to save up in simple mathematics, you're going to save up 10,000 every year in order for you to achieve 100,000, right? So in this case, if we were to use the simple calculations, of course, it's not going to have any problem at all. But if we were to see it in a financial perspective, in a financial planning perspective, you could actually be oversave your money or undersave your money. All right, because we know what is the reason that we might oversave or undersave. There are a few reasons over here. The first one is that there are inflation in our life. All right, when there are inflation in our life, we have to take care of this, because the 100,000 that you are talking today, after 10 years, it is not going to be 100,000 anymore because of the inflation. Imagine last time when we have our bowl of noodles, it's just 250 ringgit. It's just 2 ringgit 50 cents. But look at it right now. The minimum amount of noodles that you're going to get is actually 5 ringgit. So over time, the value of our money is actually depreciating. It's getting lesser and lesser and lesser, but things are getting more and more expensive. So because of this, inflation is actually going to affect the amount that you should really save up, so that it is on par with the inflation that is going to reduce the value of your money. All right. So if we were to look at simple mathematics, there is no problem at all. But if we were to look from the financial planning perspective, this is a really, really big problem. Okay. And with that, you might actually save in the wrong too. So let's use back the same example that you want to save 100,000 in 10 years time. So actually, with a 10 years duration, you are actually capable to invest it into some other tools that can actually give you better benefits out of it. But because of the fact that you might not understand how the financial world works, then there is a possibility that you might just save it in your savings account or fixed deposits that is giving you so little interest and so little benefit that at the end of the day, your money starts to depreciate because of the inflation rate that I have just mentioned just now. All right. So these are the consequences that you will be saving in the wrong tool, and you do not have a goal for you to align. So you wouldn't know when you are actually achieving your goals or not. And this is a very serious condition that a lot of people is actually facing right now. People just buy financial products because they think that everyone is buying, so I have to buy as well. But they wouldn't know what is the reason that I have to have these financial products. How is it going to affect my life if I do not have these financial products in my life? What are the dominoes effect that is causing me to is it going to make my life better, or is it going to make my life worse? All right, by not knowing what are the tools, what is the purpose of the tools, you are actually just spending money for a wrong purpose, I would say. All right, so this is the consequences of being the phase one financial product people. And I really hope that throughout the sharing, I can actually enlighten some of the people here who are actually in this phase one to actually take actions to at least take care of your financial planning and start to move into phase two or phase three so that your life will be more well handled. Okay. So if I were to use an analogy to explain on this financial product people, I would say that imagine you already bought a house and right now you are going to renovate your house and you want to get furniture, right? This is what is happening to the financial products people, which means you goes into the furniture shop, you look at whatever things that you feel like you need to have or what people told you that it has to be there when you renovate your house, then you just pick and plug and put it in your shopping cart. So it will be on single individual products, but you might not see the linkage between all these products. It might not match. It might not even fit into your house because you have no idea what is the dimension of your house, and you wouldn't know what is the dimension of these furnitures as well. So there's a possibility after you have buy all these furnitures, and when you bring it back to your house, it may not fit into the room. So you are actually spending your money on unnecessary items that I would say it is just a waste. All right, so these are some of the danger that as a financial products people that you really have to take care of. Okay, so I hope you guys still are still following me and can understand this phase one financial products people. All right. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave it at the chat box and I will answer to you at the very end of the session. Okay, so let's go to the phase two, which is the financial planning people. Okay, so people at this stage are so much better because they are actually specific people that set specific goals. Okay, and this group of people is not that much. I would say probably it is less than 20% in the market. Okay, most of the people are actually still in the phase one. And I hope that they can actually slowly moving forward into the phase two or the phase three of this financial planning. Okay, so the difference of the phase two people is that when they're setting their goals, they would actually have more specific goals. So take for example here, if for retirement, they would say, I want to retire early at the age of 45 with a passive income of $4,000. All right. So you can see that it is very specific. You know that when exactly this person would want to retire. And when this person's retire, what are the financial supports that they actually need to at this point of time. So with that, you can actually have better actions plan throughout to actually help them and to tell them what are the things that they should do throughout this period of time. So for phase 2 people, they actually have a very great specific definition for the goals. They know exactly what is the goal amount that they are looking for, and they know what is the duration for them to achieve the goal, and they have an action plan on their hands. All right, they know what to do. So it is very important to have very specific goals, because it will actually tell you what are the things that you have to do. By, let's say, for example, if I were to say, let's take the same example that I want to save 100,000 in 10 years time. So this is a very specific goals, because I have the total amount that I want to save and I have the duration that I wanted to save. All right, then we will actually look into the amount that you need to save every year or every month. So if you want to save 100,000 in 10 years, which means that you have to save 10,000 in every year. And by dividing it, you are going to need to save around, I would say, $800 every month in order for you to achieve your 10,000 at the end of the year. All right. So from there, what we are going to do in the financial planning is that we will actually look into the amount that you need to contribute in order for you to achieve the goals. But a lot of time, we might not have the capability to achieve the goal yet. All right. So probably if today I am a person that is just earning 3,000 a month, but I have a goal that requires me to put in 5,000 ringgit every month. So from there, I know that it is quite impossible for me to achieve that goal. All right. And that is where we have to do an amendment on the goal. We have to see that, is this goal realistic or not? Is it going to be possible for me to achieve it? Or it is just some dreams that I hope I can achieve? All right. If that goal is something that you really want to achieve in your life, there are two things that you can do. First is that you need to increase your income level. So if I am earning 3,000 today, but I need to pay 5,000 to fund for the goals that I really want, then I need to find ways to get more income out of it so that I can support the goal that I want to achieve in my life. All right. So this is the first thing that we have to do if we really have a goal that we want to achieve. And the second thing that we can do, if you were to tell me that that is really not quite possible for me to, get another income source or to increase my income in this short period of time, then it's okay. But you still want to achieve that goal, right? So in this case, what we can do is that we can lengthen the duration of your goal. So if you were to achieve a goal initially in 10 years time, can we actually adjust it to probably 15 years time or 20 years time based on the ability that you can actually afford to fund for this goal? So these are the two things that we can do. If you have a proper financial planning, we have all the data and statistics that we want, that we can amend it based on our current conditions. If you do not have any data in hand, you do not have the goal amount, you do not have the duration, you do not have an action plan, how are you going to amend your this financial planning? There is literally no way for you to amend. So this is why having a proper financial planning is so important, because you have the data, you have the statistics that is going to support your goals at the end of the day. Okay. So with a proper financial planning, people in this phase 2, the financial planning people, they already have all the plannings done well. And with that, whatever financial products that they have actually purchased are going to be aligned with the goals that they have set earlier in their financial planning. And with that, you will actually not overspend or underspend your money in the wrong tools. Okay, so what this means is that when you have a proper financial planning, you know what the money is actually meant for. So for example, if I want to buy a house in 10 years time, I know that the amount and, okay, if I want to buy a house in 10 years time and I have to save up $500 every month. So in my mind, I'm very clear about it. I am very conscious about it that this $500 that I am saving every month is meant for my house. And I know it so clearly that I don't care what happens, this $500 is definitely going to be for my house. And because I know that it's going to be a 10 years duration, so I will find certain tools that is going to fit into this 10 years duration. So definitely it's not going to be like some savings account or fixed deposits, because I know that is not suitable to this 10 years duration. All right. So by having a proper financial planning, you're going to have a very clear picture of the durations, the amount of the goal, and also to find the correct tool for you to put in the money. All right. So this is why financial planning is so important, because every pennies count. Every single cent that you are putting money in, that you are purchasing for certain products, is actually your blood and sweat. And we do not want to simply spend off this money. We want this money to give us better value in returns. It might not give us better value now, but we want it to give us better value in the future and in a more sustainable manner. Okay, so with us financial planning, you know exactly what the money is all about, and you know what are the tools that is going to be so suitable to the planning that you have already set it for yourself. Okay, and these are some of the planning that usually people will do, which is the education planning, probably for themselves or for their children, house purchase planning, retirement planning, business planning, and etc., etc. So there are actually different categories of planning that we can actually look into in order for us to, fund for our all these goals, so that we can achieve it at the end of the day. And also we are going to have more options at the end of the day. So over here, if we have a planning, let's say, for example, let's take back the housing planning options, the housing planning example. Okay, so let's say if I want to buy a house in 10 years time and I have already saved up that amount of money. So when we talk about options, is that when you reach that point of time, let's say if you change your mind that, oh, I don't want to buy any house anymore at this point of time. I feel like I want to spend this money on traveling. So at that point of time, you're going to have the options to not buying the house and do something else with the money. So that is the options that I am talking about it at the very initial sharing session, right? Okay, so if I were to use an analogy to describe what financial planning is all about, I would say that by looking at these pictures. So previously on our phase 1, if we were to renovate our house, we will just pick and plug all the furniture that we see. We think that it might be suitable to us, but at the end of the day, it might not fit, right? So in this phase 2, when you actually have a financial planning, it is like designing your room and getting a designer to design your room and to measure all the measurements and to put in furnitures that actually fit the design that you are looking for. Okay, so if you were looking for a very cozy bedroom, then you will have this entire design that is well prepared for you. Or you want to have a study room like this, then it comes in a package. So this is the difference between financial planning, because financial planning is going to relate into a bigger, more things in life, okay? So you know exactly the dimension, you know the style that you're looking for, and you know that what are the things that is required in the room that is going to fit in or not. Is it going to be ugly? Is it going to give you a more comfortable feeling and things like that? So this is the analogy of having a financial planning, that you take everything in a package and you know that I'm going to live very comfortably in this room because I have everything I want. Everything is in good dimensions. It fits so well. All right. And then there comes the very critical problems, which is, since I have already planned for everything, everything is in place and I'm getting whatever planning that I want. So why do I still not getting the peace in life? What did it went wrong? Okay, so for individuals planning, there's entirely no problem at all. Because as we can see from the pictures that I have shown, the interior design of every single room is so properly done, right? It's so comfortable and it makes you feel so good about it when you're inside the room. So it's actually the same when it comes to having this financial planning. But what actually went wrong is that there is no linkage. If you realize, there isn't really a linkage between one room to another. Okay, so probably let me show you again the pictures. Oh, sorry, over here. All right, so we can see that every room is so well designed, is very presentable, is so comfortable, but there is actually no linkage in between this room. Every room has their own design. Every room has their uniqueness. Of course, from the perspective of designing a house, I would say this is something that probably I would like to have, because probably my siblings is going to have different tastes like me. My family members is going to have different tastes like me. It's entirely fine. But when it comes to financial planning, if these things are actually done differently, then that is actually a danger, a gap in between. So probably let me go through some of the real cases that I have encountered before. And let's call this person Mrs. X. Okay, so Mrs. X has actually done her financial planning many, many years ago before she even came for us. All right, so she actually did up her property purchase planning and also the legacy planning, because her goals in life that she wanted to achieve is that to have all the children having a single property from her. All right. So that is where she goes for a property purchase planning. And during the property purchase planning, everything was done really, really well. She was being told the amount that she has to save up in order for her to get the properties for the children. And did I mention that there's actually 4 children that she has to buy the property for? So yes, in total, she will have to prepare the funding for these 4 different properties. Okay, so she knows exactly what amount of money that she has to put in every month in order for her to achieve the goals at the end of the day. So after a few years, she managed to achieve this goal. She has that amount of money in the bank that is going to be able for her to actually purchase the money. But the problem arises over here, because she did not do up the other part of the planning. She did not see the linkage between this property planning and other planning in her life. And that the problem about just having property planning, the problem that she is facing right now is that there is a tax issue in her whole planning. All right, because she wanted to buy 4 houses, so it's going to be a very big amount of money. But during that period of time, she did not actually undergo a tax planning. So over here, she has actually underdeclared her income from over the time, over the years. And that is the reason that is stopping her from getting the property right now. All right. So which means she's not going to be able to fulfill her life goals because of these mistakes. I would say a very important factor that she has overseen in the planning. which I think a is a miss for her, because she has already have everything prepared. She got the money, she know where to find good properties and things like that. Everything has been prepared, but because she did not see the linkage between one planning to another, this is the consequences that she is going to face. All right, so the third thing that I wanted to share with you, which is the phase 3 of financial planning, is actually what we call the financial integration. All right, as based on the example that I've said, if today Mrs. X has actually did up the financial integration by not just doing the property purchase planning, but also seeing the consequences that is going to arise from other plannings in her life, with this financial integration, if she integrates everything in the planning, this thing would not happen. The tax issue problem would not have happened today. All right, so this is the importance of having financial integration in your planning rather than just financial planning itself. So these are the differences. And let me give you another example of how this financial integration has actually affect other people's life. All right, and we have this another client, which let's call her Mr. A. All right, so Mr. A, previously she was actually planning for the children's education. All right, so he actually did up all the financial planning as well to fund for the children's education. But when he was doing the children's education, he did not realize that he has to actually forfeit the retirement that he's going to undergo in order to fund for the children's retirement. So which in another word, in order to fund for the children's education, he will have to sacrifice the retirement. All right, but throughout the financial integration, we managed to capture the gap between the education planning and also the retirement planning. And we try, and that is where we step in to avoid these things happen. Because if today Mr. X is going to spend all the money on the children's education, it's definitely going to jeopardize his retirement at the end of the day. Okay, and the children is going to take time to study before they even come out to get a job, and the salary might not be enough to cover for themselves, or it might not enough to cover for this Mr. X. So if Mr. X were to spend all the money on the children's education, then he will have to work longer in order for him to achieve his retirement, which would actually jeopardize his whole life journey. So this is the very important thing about financial integration, that not many of the people know about it. And this is the missing piece that we have been looking all the time in our life in financial planning. Okay, so if we are in this phase 3, we are actually the financial integration people. And this is the puzzle that help us to integrate and link up all the portfolios that you have in your financial, in your finances. All right. And the people in this phase 3 financial integration, definitely they have all the good values from phase 2, which is the financial planning. They have all the specifications that I have mentioned earlier. But at the meantime, they are also having extra benefits out of it. So with financial integration, you can avoid the dominoes effect, which I have shown to you from my 2 previous examples on how it actually affects each other's planning if you do not have the financial integration in it. And with this financial integration, you're going to be able to leverage on your current strength, your current financial portfolios, to actually help you to achieve your life goals better. All right, and you're going to have a peace of mind at the end of the day. Why are we doing all these things? Why are we spending so much time, so much effort to get things done? Is because we want to have a peace of mind. And the fact that for those people that is actually doing their financial planning, The reason why you're doing financial planning is because you want to have a peace of mind, right? You hope that everything is going to go so smoothly in your life that there is no any other things that's going to disrupt or is going to destroy your lifestyle. And since you have already spent so much time, so much effort, and really put in the money to let your to really achieve your life goal, why not take an extra mile, take another leap to go into financial integration and to really look into the relationship between all the plannings that you have done? Is there any gap, any consequences that you have yet to see? What are the dominoes effect of doing this planning, but without having another planning done? So this is the importance of having financial integration, and is the missing piece that we have been finding all the time. And with this missing piece, the financial integration, you are going to have better awareness, better consciousness of how things would actually affect each other in your daily life. Okay, and that would definitely lead you to have a better peace of mind. So if I were to use an analogy to talk about what financial integration is, then this picture is a very good example of what financial integration is all about. So in the same house, you're going to see the same character in every different in all the different rooms. All right. So over here we can see that the same thing that is happening in this whole house is that there is a wood factor in this house. So there is a similarity in financial integration compared to financial planning. There is actually no linkage between it. So by living in a house like this, it makes you feel that this is a house. There is some relationship between it, and you can really tell if you were to compare to the previous picture that I've shown to you earlier. Okay, so we have actually come to an end. So this is a glance of what the financial products, the phase 1 people, the financial planning, the phase 2 people, and also the phase 3 financial integration people is all about. So for financial products people, they set very general goals. There's no specification in that. So they might reach their goals or they might not reach their goal at the end of the day. We have no idea about it. And they have no idea about it as well. And the financial planning people, they have specific goals, as well as financial integration people, they have specific goals. They know what are the amount that they have to save up, when are they going to achieve all these goals, and what action plan they have to take in order for them to achieve the life goals. And the next thing is that for financial products people, they might actually overspend or underspend their money because they have no specific goals in their mind. So they just do whatever they can, and there's like literally no directions for them, no guidelines for them to tell them how much that you should be spending on this very specific products. Whereas for financial planning and financial integration people, they will definitely not overspend their money or underspend their money, or because they have very specific goals, and they know that every single cent that they have invested in all this financial product is going to bring more values than what people think the money could bring. All right. So every financial products that they have invested in have a goal in mind. They know exactly what this money is meant for, what this financial products is meant for them. And lastly, for financial products people, there is definitely no linkage to other goals because there isn't even a planning done over there. All right. But for financial planning, and for financial planning as well, there's no linkage to other goals. It's specifically entirely on just a single planning. All right. Whereas for financial integrations, you can really tell the linkage with another goals. All right. So that will give you a more comprehensive view of what your planning is all about. And you can tell the consequences and the dominoes effect of not doing certain planning. Okay, so I would like to end my session with this quote that things grow stronger when you integrate. And in this world, we have to integrate things together so that you can leverage on each other's strength. And at the same time, when you integrate, you are actually going to save more money and have your money being used in a better way. So with that, I would like to end my session here today. I hope that you all have had a very fruitful session with me and to get to understand that very important missing piece in our financial planning. So financial integration is definitely something that we are looking for in order for us to really get a peace of mind in our life. All right. If you wish to connect with me to learn more about what financial integration planning is all about and what is the practical usage of financial integration, do connect with me, send me a text message, or we can actually have a more casual session aside. All right. So with that, truly appreciate you staying till the very end of the session. I hope you have really learned something. And of course, not just by learning it, but please use it, utilize it, practice it on your daily life, and have this financial integration be imported into your current financial planning. If you haven't started your financial planning yet, you are still in the phase 1 financial products people, it's still not that bad because you have actually started to do something, right? But try to move forward into the phase 2 or phase 3 directly. It will actually be better as you're going to have a more comprehensive coverage for your financial planning at the end of the day. All right. Whereas for those that is in the phase 2, the financial planning people, you might really want to move forward into the financial integration, review your whole financial portfolios again, and making sure that the consequences, the dominoes effect of this financial planning is well taken care of. It may be very simple by listening to my sharing that financial integration is just the linkage between the planning. But if you oversee any of the planning in between, it is really going to give you a very hard kick in your life. All right. So make sure that the financial integration is really, really done well. If you require any help, just leave me a message, let me know, talk to me personally, so and see what are the things that I can help you to make sure that your financial planning is really in place. All right. So it's really great to have all of you with me today, staying till the very end of the session. I really thank you for your support. And I hope that you can share this video out to more people or share the thoughts that you have to more people around you and spread this awareness on the importance of having a true financial integration planning so that their life can be secured, your life can be secured, your friends' life can be secured, and more people are aware of the importance and take this important notes into practice so that everyone can have a better life in the future. Okay, so with that, I will end over here. And I hope to see you all in the very near future. Bye-bye and have a nice day.
So much to Hui Ming for the session here shared with us today. I hope you guys managed to find your financial peace, especially in today's topic, financial integration, finding the missing piece in financial planning. So once again, we're going to open the floor for Q&A for Hui Ming. And if there's any question, we'll address it to Hui Ming. So leave it all at the Q&A box, Q&A column right over there. All right, so Hui Ming, I think there are two questions from the floor for you. Let's have a look. The first one is actually from Samantha. Do I have the proper amount in an emergency fund?
Okay, so thank you, Vivian. All right, so based on that question, I think I would need to look into your bank account to know whether you have that emergency fund or not. But of course, if we were to say whether how much emergency fund we're going to have in our own account, right? That actually depends because there's actually a rule of thumb to do so. Basically, we'll say we might need at least 3 to 6 months of your current monthly income to have that as an emergency fund. Because as I have said it in my presentation as well, what are the things that we might need money during this emergency is actually some of the minor emergencies that could happen in a very temporary or in a very short period of time. Probably your car broke down, probably you need maintenance in your house, or the worst thing that could actually happen, especially during this COVID pandemic, right, is that people get retrenched at this point of time. So when you lose your job, you don't have an income, continuing supporting all your living lifestyle, right? Where is the source of money is going to come from? So this is where the emergency funds actually kicks in to help you to continue support your life. So you don't have to, take a loan or borrow money from your friends and do things like that, or maybe sell off your assets in order to continue sustain your this living lifestyle. So I hope that answers your question, Samantha. And of course, if you want me to check on whether you have enough emergency funds or not, yeah, do connect with me as well.
All right. Okay, we've got another question, equally from Samantha as well. And how to know what is my risk tolerance and how much risk am I taking right now?
Okay, I think that is a really good question because a lot of time when people are trying to purchase a financial tools, like especially into investments, they don't really look into their risk tolerance. They just go with the trend. Like, oh, Bitcoin is actually on the trend right now, or right now property is actually having a very low price. Let's just go buy it together, right? So these are some of the mentality that people used to have. So how do we really need to identify the risk tolerance is that actually for us, we will actually look into the duration of your goals. So as I have mentioned earlier, in our financial planning, it's actually a very specific planning inside there. And you are very clear about what goals you want to achieve in the future and how much the goals is going to cost you. So with that, we will actually base on the type of goals that you are having and also the duration that you are having to decide how much risk you can have. So for example, if you're telling me that, okay, I'm going to need this money in 6 months time, all right? So if today I invested your money into Bitcoin, let's say, for example, we know that Bitcoin is having like a very huge fluctuation in the market. So let's say after 6 months and Bitcoin suddenly dropped, there was like a few months back because of a tweet from a very well-known person, and the Bitcoin prices actually dropped very drastically. And people were actually complaining that, oh, it's because of you and my money that I have actually prepared for my children's, for my house, everything just goes wipe off in that short period of time. So looking back over here, if your duration is that short, you actually cannot afford to take any risk at that point of time because it's very short, it's very urgent, and you are going to need that money in 6 months' time. So we cannot afford to take that risk. So if your duration is so short, the shorter the duration it is, the lower risk tolerance that you can actually have. Hope that answers.
Okay, so it's actually relating to the time frame for this question.
Yes.
Okay, so is there any more questions from the floor for Hui Ming? We can accept one last question. Okay, if not, we will call it off as a day. At the same time, after this, Hui Ming will also we will also share Hui Ming's contact at the chat box. So if Hui Ming, you can just share with me your details. Oh yes, Hui Ming has actually put it up there in the chat box. That's her LinkedIn profile. So if you guys want to connect with her, feel free to click onto the link and get connected, especially Samantha. If you want Hui Ming to do a check for you, on your emergency funds, okay, and of course do a risk assessment for you, please feel free to connect with her, Hui Ming, and the rest of you, you may also do so, okay? Please connect with Hui Ming right after our session today. Now, is there any more questions? We're going to open up for one last question here for Hui Ming, finding the missing piece. If not, Hui Ming, could you just entertain me a little? When you talk about peace in financial planning, I know a lot of people has different definition, but how or rather what is the process like, and how long will we take to find this peace?
That's a very good question from Vivian. Thank you for that. Okay, so basically, if we want to find that peace, it's actually the first step that we have to identify in the whole process. Because when it comes to peace, like what Vivian just said, everyone has their own definition. Like probably someone might need like $1 million in their bank account so that they feel safe and secure. But for certain people, they just want their family to be safe, and that is their definition of peace. So throughout the whole planning, what we will do at the very initial stage is always to identify the peace that you are actually looking for. What does this peace means to you? And we will go through with some of maybe your background checks and also your financial checks. And at that stage, I would say we allow our customers to really think about their life and to dream big and to dream about the life that they really want to achieve at that stage. And after they have really identified it, then we will move on to the next stage to look into something that is more technical over there, to look into more technicalities and more into facts and figures that is like kind of boring at the later part. But at the beginning stage is actually a very fun stage that you get to think more and really sit down and think about what are the things that you really want.
Okay, thank you so much, Hui Ming, for answering that for me. Of course, we would also like to thank Hui Ming once again for the whole session and of course for the Q&A session here as well. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, please connect with Hui Ming, and I hope that you guys have managed to learn a thing or two during this session together here in Woobiz channel with Hui Ming. With the topic here today, financial integration, finding the missing piece in financial planning. Once again, thank you so much. Please do remember to stay tuned with us. The next session will be on next Tuesday. And of course, the competition is ongoing. So we will hope to see you guys in the competition. Do join in to support the teams, okay? And we will see you guys shortly. Bye-bye.